I'm Edwin Warfield. I'm the publisher of Citybiz, and I'm excited today to interview Paige McWey, Acers, who's the executive director of the San Diego Brewers Guild. Welcome, Paige.
Thank you for having me.
Can you provide an introduction to the San Diego Brewers Guild?
Sure. So we are a 501c6 trade association. We've been around since 1997, so we're celebrating our 25th anniversary. And our mission and objective is to really market and promote and advocate for San Diego craft breweries in the San Diego County region.
And how many breweries are part of the Guild?
We have close to 125 brewing companies as members of the guild, which expand into just under 180 locations. So each member is a business, and so their ancillary tasting rooms or brew pubs are also considered, brewing location memberships. So we definitely expand throughout the entire county. And represent a lot of different types of business models.
And can you name some of the major breweries?
Sure. So we have Ballast Point, Stone, Carl Strauss, some of our major regional breweries that are distributed across the country or across the state, all the way down to smaller breweries like Virgin here in Carlsbad, or we go down to South Bay. We have Chula Vista Brewing down there. So again, we kind of run the gambit in size from production to age. So we have a really great array of businesses that we are able to support and represent.
And let's talk a little bit about your career. You started as an administrative assistant at the Carl Strauss Brewing Company. Tell us about that part of your career and the decision to join the San Diego Brewers Guild.
Yeah, so previous to working at Carl Strauss, I was working at a law firm and had thought I wanted to go to law school. And I learned quickly that I didn't want to have that much debt. So I started looking into industries that were really making a local impact. And I was seeing the craft breweries, tasting rooms and locations popping up in different communities throughout the San Diego County region. And I really loved seeing just their impact on the communities that they participated and built their businesses in. And so I sought out Carl Strauss because they're well known and the pioneer of local San Diego craft beer. And so I started out there, and I had a little bit of exposure to the Brewers Guild through a job I had in college. That was a farm to table restaurant that really focused on partnering with local farms, local breweries, local wineries. And so I had that knowledge of what the Guild had already been doing for several years. And they were really looking to grow at the time that I joined almost 9 years ago now. And so we just kind of naturally progressed into a position from administrative at Carl Strauss, and just more and more Guild initiatives, programs, events started taking place, and it developed into the position that I have now as executive director.
And you've been at the Guild for 9 years, is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Can you share some of the milestones over those 9 years, if you go back in time and just sort of walk us through some of them?
Yeah, when I first started, the only event that we had was San Diego Beer Week, which started in 2009. So really been able to grow that, and its opening and closing events have grown in popularity and size. We also added a spring festival, a golf tournament, an educational series that takes place monthly that we put on for our membership. And then just general marketing and promotion of our members that wasn't really taking place prior to me being with the Guild. So expanding exposure through social media and the web, and helping the breweries that may not have the ability to market themselves in the way that we can, and that people are following us so that they can follow every brewery in the county. So those are some major initiatives and programs that I was able to help kickstart and maintain as we've continued to grow.
So I was on your website, and you have a document that talks about the economic development implications. It's called Economic Impact of Craft Breweries in San Diego County. Can you share some of that data and some of those key statistics?
So we've been partnering with Cal State San Marcos to produce that report over the last several years. And so the report that we had produced last year definitely showed that there was a decrease in employment and economic output, jobs, production. But at the same time, we also, during that reporting, surveyed our members to talk about their projection and confidence in the return. And I think that was the biggest takeaway from the report from last year was that yes, we got some numbers that showed things that we had anticipated with the last 2 years of COVID restrictions and closures for the breweries, but um, almost all of our breweries anticipate growth and increase in distribution, increase in production. So they're still very optimistic about the industry as a whole.
And so, what role has the Guild played in addressing sort of regulatory issues? I know that's an important role of a trade association or a guild. Uh,
We have a state association called the California Craft Brewers Association that's located in Sacramento, and the regional guilds really work closely with their executive director and staff on initiatives that are regulatory or legislative. And so, over the last couple of years, with the different shutdowns and restrictions on craft breweries, we worked really closely with them to help set up constituent meetings so that our legislators could hear directly from our brewery members about impacts that they were experiencing and things that they could use to help them. And so it was really trying to make those connections and have a unified voice across the state for the industry. So we really look to the CCBA, the California Craft Brewers Association, on on any sort of legislative or advocacy regulatory type of issues to make sure that again the industry as a whole has a unified voice so that it impacts everybody in a positive way, instead of different regions having different perspectives or different asks. So we really look to them and then use our members to support or advocate and reach out to legislators that way.
so, lots of companies have been having significant supply chain issues. Has the brewing industry faced similar supply chain issues?
Yes, definitely. There's been issues with aluminum, is a huge one. The With the closures over the last couple of years, a lot of the breweries, uh, all of their draft sales dried up overnight because they weren't open to the public. So they had to turn to packaging. And so there was already a shortage on aluminum. And then on top of that, everybody turning to packaging in order to get their product out the door made it really, really challenging. There's also been some issues with agricultural products like hops and malt and just the climate change is definitely having an impact on the quality of those ingredients and trying to make sure that the breweries, craft breweries, it's an art for them, and so they really want to make sure that any sort of materials and ingredients that they're using are top quality. And so it's been really challenging, making sure that they have access to those quality ingredients, and then also with getting their packages out the door through with aluminum because people have moved away from glass. So it's been really hard on the industry. I think a little bit of a misconception about the craft beer industry is that we're really seen and lumped in as a hospitality industry because of the tap room or the tasting room kind of aspect. But the first and foremost, the craft breweries are manufacturers. They're making a product on a daily basis and then selling it. And so that was really challenging over the last couple of years, is trying to re-educate people of like, no, these businesses are manufacturers first and then they are in hospitality. So um, they've had a lot of challenges, I think, that we didn't foresee ahead of time, which a lot of people didn't, but that came out. And so we're trying to help them through that.
And so, what are the strategic plans? What are your growth plans for the guild going forward?
So our goal is to market and promote and support the craft breweries. So we're going to continue um, uh, to prioritize education and for our members. So, for example, yesterday we did an entire education session on the lager style. We had um, a whole panel of San Diego kind of celebrity brewers that are known for the style to help educate other breweries in our community on on the style and brewing techniques. And so we're going to really focus on elevating and maintaining our capital of craft status through education, and then do our marketing and promotion as we've done in the past with social media, web, and then our consumer facing events. So our strategy is to really just continue to re-engage our members after a really challenging 2.5 years, to get them back out there and get the consumers back in their tasting rooms to support them as small local businesses.
So, is there any part of your personal story or the guild story that you haven't shared with us that you'd like to share with us?
For me, I would just say that one of the biggest things I just talked about was a huge learning thing for me over the last couple of years was really making sure that people understand that craft breweries are manufacturers, and that was something that we hadn't really put a lot of priority on. I think we took advantage of that and just kind of accepted that was part of the business model, but really trying to make sure that people understand that craft brewers are manufacturers of a product, and their business model is really dependent on the community that they're in. And the breweries themselves really rely on the support of their patrons and their fans to keep them in business. And so we've seen an incredible support in the local San Diego region of our neighborhoods and our communities rallying behind our breweries through the last couple of years, and that's been we're just so fortunate to have the type of people that we have as guests and as fans and as supporters of such a niche art form in the San Diego region.
Well, Paige, I want to thank you for your time. It's always interesting to learn more about the craft beer business, and yeah, we wish you the best of luck going forward. Thanks again.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time and the opportunity to speak with you today.